This craft may be a little much for some of y'all. If it is, that's okay. You can go ahead and leave. We won't be mad. Everybody else, stick around for just a minute. So if you stuck around, what we are going to do is take these Dollar Tree skeletons. We get them as the garland at the Dollar Tree. He did not look like this. I melted him. I am outside in a well-ventilated area because I'm outside in a little workspace on my porch. We melted him so he just has like kind of a look. So when he's laying in whatever scene we're going to put him in, he has a little movement like his body was thrown out somewhere. And we're going to turn him into this corpse looking gentleman that we saw already. So the way we're going to do this to corpse this out, and this does work for not just dollhouse size plastic skeletons. This is going to work for larger size skeletons. So if you have the plastic skulls from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, or you already have little skeletons in your Halloween stash, you can for sure do the same thing. For this size, this is just a sandwich bag, and I cut it open. It doesn't have the Ziploc part on it. It's just a fold over cheapo sandwich bag. Use whatever kind of sandwich bag or plastic you want. Saran wrap works just fine. For the larger plastic ones, you can use like the painter's drop cloth. That works good for the larger skeletons. The other thing you're gonna need is a heat gun. I have my heat gun here. Because that's gonna melt this plastic around the skeleton. Just be careful because this does get very hot, okay? And you don't want to burn yourself, and you don't want to continue to melt your skeleton while we're doing this. So I'm gonna take this plastic and I'm just gonna put it, for now, I'm gonna put it over his head. Let's see, can we see that? I'm not sure if we can see that. It's a little bright out here on this porch. Yep, I think we can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna put that over his little head. And then we'll take this. It's gonna be a little loud. Okay, his head's been shrink wrapped. Now he's got a shrink wrapped head. Okay, and you're just going to continue to do this over his body. And this is going to give him some corpsed skin. Be careful of your fingers because this does get hot. Now right in between the arm and the rib cage, I want to cut that a little bit because I want to be able to shrink wrap up against. These scissors are not the best for this, but we're going to go with it. I want to be able to shrink wrap it a little bit in there and get that like separation. Okay. Flip him over, shrink wrap him on the back. Because you're using this plastic to make his skin. That's what we're doing. This plastic is becoming his creepy, corpsey skin. Let's give him some skin around his pelvis and his leg on this side. Over a little bit. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I did not do it exactly like this for the first guy, and he turned out just fine. I have no idea how this one's going to turn out. It's just like everything else I do. I have no idea how it turns out. I just do it. Don't burn yourself. And I'm about to burn myself. Looks like this guy's going to have a little more skin in some places than in others, but that's okay. Alright. So this is what we have so far. He's a little corpsed out to this point. Now, we don't have any skin on this arm. Poor guy, he has no skin on that arm. That's okay, because we can take another piece of a sandwich bag and put on there. That's no big deal. Now, before this video ends, I'm going to show you how we painted this up. Normally, it says to use wood stain. I did not use wood stain. I don't always do what they tell me to do when I see these ideas for this stuff. I used acrylic paint. Now, that's just my go-to because that's what I use most often is acrylic paint for stuff. It's just the easiest thing for me to use for miniatures. This paint was nearly empty. This is my burnt umber. This bottle is nearly empty. I've used it to death. So I'm going to put a little out there. It is mixed with water, so that's a burnt umber wash. I've got a little bit of antique maroon that I did use. We see that little bit right there. I have a little tiny touch of black that I'll use. Oh, that is not a tiny touch of black. There's a whole lot of black. Much more than I'll ever use for this. And I'll just lay the lid there for the white. So what I'll do is I'll start with this brown, this wash. I'm just going to take an old brush because I don't need any fancy brush for this. I'm just going to wash this paint over. That may be too thinned out. That may be too thin. Let's see if I got a different brown here. Let me add a little more brown in that because that's probably too thin. Okay. Just want to make him a little creeped out, a little brown in here. I want his skin to look a little corpsey. And this is where that wood stain comes in. I guess it does this effect for you. But I wasn't going to use an entire brush to use wood stain on something so small when I could get the same effect with acrylic paint. Alright. Let me pause that. The last part of that would be to go over him with the maroon and then highlight with the white, just to give that last subtle detail, fill in any dark spots with black to give the depth, and this is what you end up with. Sorry about my nails, we are changing brakes on my truck. I help my husband do all the stuff like that. But this is what you end up with from the Dollar Tree skeletons. So if you do one, I'd love to see it. Bye, y'all.